Living Live, and I'm here today with Justin Recla. Oh my gosh, I have a little blah, blah, blah. Okay, Justin Recla of Cryptocurrency Due Diligence, and today we're going to talk about cryptocurrency, how it is under attack. So this is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. So I look forward to you guys sticking around, having questions. Let us know what's going on. Before we get started, I want to share with you that I am going to be speaking on stage at an event called Massive Success Breakthrough, and that's February 9th through 11th here in San Diego. And I'm hoping that you'll attend. Go to attendmsb.com if you'd like to get tickets for that. And then if you know anybody who is interested in cryptocurrency, or if you know anybody who isn't, but they really should need to know about it, go ahead and share this with them, because the information here is seen as the future. So think about it this way. We're in the beginning stages of something that's going to be our future. So it's really good to be educated on that. And that's what Justin and I do here, is just educate you so you can be knowledgeable about what you're doing with your investments. So to get started, we're here, Justin Recla. Justin, thank you so much for being here. And I'm loving doing this show with you because cryptocurrency is crazy and interesting. Oh my God. So, I guess give his bio. Maybe I should tell you guys who he is. Like, why do I have Justin here, right? Okay. So Justin has over 13 years experience and advanced training with the U.S. Army and federal government. He's a subject matter expert in tactical questioning, surveillance, counter-espionage, threat and vulnerability assessments, and investigative techniques. He's an educator in concepts of effective communication and has taught hundreds of future federal agents how to conduct interviews and investigations. He's a leader in the cryptocurrency due diligence and education, and is the co-founder of CryptoBit Verified, the very first cryptocurrency vetting provider. And we'll talk about that really quick before we get into this. But Justin brings his skills from the military sector and delivers them to the boardroom to help business owners protect their two most valuable assets, and that is time and money. So welcome, Justin. I'm so glad to have you here again. So this is episode number 3, and we have no idea how many episodes we'll have, because cryptocurrency, it's always unfolding. There's always something new, something to talk about, and it's an amazing subject. So first, before we get into this, Justin, why don't you tell us, this is cryptocurrency vetting provider. What does that mean exactly?
Well, there's lots of different opportunities out there, and most people are throwing their money at anything and everything that comes along. And since we've been down this vertical with our due diligence business, we've identified 90 plus frauds or scams that most of them are not with us anymore. There's still some that are going on, but essentially what we do is we help people make educated decisions for their cryptocurrency investments. We do the same in the business world and with partners, service providers, and so forth, making sure that the people you're getting involved with are who they say they are, and they can do what they say they can do. In the cryptocurrency world, it's just helping people make educated decisions and knowing all the ins and outs of what the opportunities are, how the opportunities work, so they can decide whether or not it's a good fit for them, and whether or not, or if it's just too much and not get involved.
You brought up a really great thing. There's a 90 plus frauds or scams. How can people, and I know you're going to say, do your due diligence. I know the answer to this already, but okay. So the question is, how can people make sure they're not getting involved with a company, a company that's in relation to cryptocurrency? I don't even know if I'm asking the question right. How they can make sure they don't get involved with one of those that is potentially going to be a fraud or a scam? Or do you want to mention any of the names that are now defunct, and how people maybe could have done some due diligence to make sure they didn't get involved there?
Yeah,
can you go there?
Some of the coins, some of the ones that we've seen out there are things like BitPetite. BitPetite was a platform that was around for about, I think, 4 or 5 months, and it was offering loans and all sorts of different crazy whatnot with Bitcoin, and it was with Bitcoin in and of itself. And so the question is so broad. It's the how do you know? Well, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, doesn't necessarily mean it's a duck.
True.
There's a lot that goes into it, into understanding what the risks are. But the biggest thing that that people can do is go slow, because the biggest issue that the cryptocurrency world has right now is that there's this sense of, I have to take action now. I've got to get on and on right now. It's at this price point, and this is that, and there's this sense of urgency. So people are making emotional decisions with their money, and they're losing it because they're not doing the due diligence. They're not asking all the questions. They don't dig beneath the surface to see if an opportunity, a coin, whatever it is that they're looking at getting involved with is actually sustainable or not.
And that's such a good point, because people do typically buy on emotion. So when you're talking about something that is so confusing, I like to use the word convoluted, because there's so much to it. So when you're talking about something like that, it's really easy to want to just jump on the bandwagon and get in there. But if you don't know what you're investing in, because really it is an investment, if you don't know what you're investing in, then you can be taken. And it's so easy. And there's a lot of shysters out there, right? I mean, that's
well, that's the thing. That's the unfortunate part about it, is that because it's such a hot topic right now, that there's new opportunities that are popping up all over the place that are preying on the fact that you're just going to get involved because it has to do with Bitcoin. I mean, the sheer amount of people that are online selling cryptocurrency programs, for tremendous amounts of money, says a lot to that. There's a lot of education programs that are built off of a sheer Ponzi schemes, that the way you get paid, the way you make money is we're selling you an education product, but then you go get two people who get two people who get two people who get two people. And the only way money is ever made in the system is by bringing in more people. We've seen that a lot in the education arena. If the business in and of itself can't generate money like a regular network marketing company does, that's typically an indicator. If the only way you get paid is to bring in new people, run. And we're seeing a lot of that because they're using fancy language and cryptocurrency stuff, and they're preying on the fact that you're not going to consider it a Ponzi scheme because it's cryptocurrency. So that's really the biggest thing is we're looking out there. If the only way that you can make money in the system is to bring in new people, then that's a great indicator, great place to start.
And same with, just like you mentioned, a network marketing company, if that's the only way you really can make the money is to bring in new people, it's the same thing. You want to run as fast as you can away from that, because that is a Ponzi scheme. That's exactly what they are. Now, there was one that a friend of mine was telling me about, maybe almost a year ago. And immediately I started doing some research, and I found out that was the way that they made money. And I found out that also that they were telling people that the money would never, ever, ever go down. And that's also an indicator, because that's not showing a clear sign that something is a true investment, because even our dollar goes up and down. Gold goes up and down, right?
No guarantees. And, especially if it's in the crypto world, just make sure you have a clear understanding, because if you're getting involved with anything, buying a coin from buying low and selling high, that's one thing. There's a lot of opportunities out there, though, that are utilizing cryptocurrency through various means, various programs. The educational stuff is where we're seeing a lot of the Ponzi-based schemes that are out there. If the program itself, if the business itself doesn't have a means of it's making money on its own, and the only way that it is a business opportunity is by you recruiting other people, then the business is not sustainable. Their product should be able to make money, just like any good network marketing company. Their product should be able to be sold, to be able to generate money and revenue for the company. But if the only way that it's making money is through new people into the system, that's a problem.
So would you say that cryptocurrency is network marketing then?
No, there's platforms within cryptocurrency there are businesses that are building MLM network marketing based businesses using cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency in itself is not. Cryptocurrency itself is a new way of approaching the financial industry. It's revolutionizing the entire financial industry on how we exchange money for goods and services. Bitcoin was the first. Ethereum's a big one. Litecoin's a big one. There's different ones out there. There's new coins that are being exchanged or using different things, different technologies and so forth that a lot of people are day trading and using more of like a stock investment, but true cryptocurrencies are looking at being having a true store of value in of themselves, like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got a store of value because it's worth this much because the market says it's worth this much. It's not built on any one business platform that's being used for specific needs. It's literally a currency that just exists on the market. And so cryptocurrency itself is not an MLM, but there are tons of businesses that are entering into the cryptocurrency market with new coins that some have utility, some have a straight store of value, and others have a mix of it. So there's a lot that goes into it if you're going to be purchasing different coins.
So that begs another question. So, okay, Bitcoin is like the granddaddy of coins. And then we have all of these other, they call them altcoins, which are alternative coins. And anybody can create their own coin. But the important thing I think to understand there, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I'm still learning a lot as I'm going. And so sometimes I want to like ask the question in a way that comes from, am I right? Like, am I thinking of this right? So my question here is, my understanding is that you mentioned Litecoin, and then there's Ethereum, which is a big one too. I can't trade, see if I'm right, I cannot trade my Ethereum with Bitcoin because they're two totally different coins. Is that correct?
Yeah, so in order to do you would have to do an exchange. You would have to sell your Ethereum and then basically repurchase Bitcoin or vice versa. Because each one has its own separate wallet on its own separate blockchain, means that ledgers are controlled by two separate systems. You can't send Bitcoin to an Ethereum wallet. You can't send Ethereum to a Bitcoin wallet. You would have to do an exchange in order to make those transactions occur, which is very interesting because there are some new laws that just went in place with President Trump's tax reform that just got put out that you can get with your accountant. Now the details of it are still new to me. But it has to do with your trades being taxable for even every time you exchange Ethereum for Bitcoin or Bitcoin for Ethereum. There's some new tax implications that are in place from that. So if you don't have a Bitcoin accountant, we've got one that's part of our team. He's absolutely amazing. Feel free to reach out, and I'll put you in contact with him directly.
Okay, and that's interesting because since it's deregulated, how are they going to even be able to know what you got going on? I mean, like, that's like, you just totally blew my mind with that. Like, what?
That's a great question, because here's the thing. So while this is one of the biggest things that one of the biggest issues that are scaring a lot of people is that the government really doesn't know. The SEC's come out and said, yes, it's this, but we're really not going to do anything about it. You know, the IRS is like, whoo, this is a property, it's income, it's taxed as an income. And then with the new tax laws that have just come out and how it's taxed and when it's taxed and so forth are still brand new. Essentially, the government is still trying to figure out what to do with it. However, they are quickly learning that they can tax it, especially with the exchanges that have to report to the IRS. So US-based companies or other exchanges that do KYC, due diligence, know their client due diligence, where they collect your information. Most of those exchanges are going to end up reporting to the IRS. So every time you do a trade, send or receive Bitcoin or buy Ethereum or make an exchange, that if it hits over a certain threshold, it's reportable to the IRS. Coinbase had fought the IRS for a very long time, but finally settled at the end of last year, agreeing to report any incomes over $20,000 to the IRS. So just know if you're on a Coinbase account, you're going to get to our Coinbase or GDAX or any of these other US-based exchanges. If you did transactions over $20,000, you're probably going to receive a 1099 from them, reporting that income to the IRS. So that's how they're regulating it right now. Is they're taxing it because they're treating it as income, as property. But there's so many more complexities that are going into it that other government agencies there's really no regulation as to what it is or what it does or what's enforceable, what's not enforceable. There's been some cases on the internet lately that the SEC has stepped in and shut down a handful of, I believe 3 so far, companies that were offering ICOs. But those ICOs were structured in such a way that it was very similar to a stock, to where they were purchasing or buying into the company by purchasing their coin, or at least 2 of them were straight out frauds that didn't have systems in place, didn't have actual businesses in place, but they were doing an ICO, raising a ton of money, and they got shut down because of that. So because they weren't compliant, they hadn't structured the ICO properly, and so it's literally the wild, wild west out there right now.
Yeah. So how long do you think it'll be the wild, wild west before it starts to become somewhat mainstream? Because I know like less than 1% of the people even know about it, let alone are involved in it. Yeah,
it's that's hard to predict. What I do know is that the more at the end of last year there was quite the hype, right? Of look at it, and caught the media attention. There was this big upsurge in excitement, and it seems that that's kind of lulled off a little bit right now. People are learning more about it, but it seems to be slowing down, which in my opinion is a good thing. I don't think it's going to go. I don't believe it's going anywhere. I believe it's the future of how we are going to transact globally. But if I were to make a prediction, I would say it's probably going to be 10 to 15 years before it's probably really, really mainstream, because most people, it falls well outside their comfort zone, especially if they have any technical disadvantages. And there's a lot of people that are still dependent on doing what the government tells them to do. And that's completely contradictory to the nature of cryptocurrency in of itself, because it was based off of a decentralized concept. So I think that the more people that come online, when we see companies like Facebook, for instance, is talking about using Litecoin. Amazon's considering accepting Bitcoin. When we see some of these major companies more and more then come online to accept it as a form of payment, I think we'll see it become more widely available. And some of that has to do with the technology as well. Like I said, right now you have to be somewhat tech savvy. If more and more people get online, entrepreneurs and business owners are going to find creative ways to make it easier for people to use. When that happens, it's just a matter of time. I mean, when you and I can go to our phone without having to know a whole lot and just basically hit a button, it'll be a lot easier. There's ways right now that you can do it using prepaid debit cards, spending your cryptocurrencies. But the choices are very, very limited right now because it's still fairly brand new. But as more companies and more banks come online with cryptocurrency, it'll just skyrocket from there.
Well, it is like you said, a wild. Sorry, I have a problem here with there we go. It is like the wild, wild west. And so people have to learn what it's all about. And like you said, do their due diligence, figuring it out. And, one of our mutual friends, started a coin just like last week or a week and a half ago. And it's like so confusing in a way that how are they doing this and how are they making it happen and how is it going to work? And all these questions that come up, especially when you see somebody you actually know doing it. It's so cool. But how can people use it or see it as an investment? What are they actually investing in when they're investing in something? Because it's not cryptocurrency they're investing in, correct?
So it depends on where they're investing. If they're investing in an ICO, the ICO structure that is giving you a piece of a security into the company, That's one thing. A lot of times, if you're buying a coin that's just got store of value, then you're actually investing in that coin as far as what that coin is going to be used for and how it's going to be used. And so you're essentially, it's like playing the penny stocks almost. So understanding what is behind the coin, what's the technology for it, what's the company behind it using. But then you have things like Bitcoin and people that are just purchasing the coin itself, and they're using it as almost like a foreign exchange investment, a forex investment, where they're buying coin low and they're selling it high, and they really don't care as to anything else involved with the currency. They're just literally just they are purchasing the coin off of straight speculation, which essentially Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and all of that, the pricing of it is driven by the market, which is driven by speculation, which is driven by what the companies behind each coin are doing. Bitcoin in itself is pure speculation because there is no company behind it. It just exists on the internet.
Is that why it's so mysterious? Because I know we've heard about, nobody really knows how it got started, really, and that's my understanding. And do we even know who started it?
We know how it got started. We just don't know who the person, the group, the individual, the secret society, the black helicopter people. We don't know. We don't know who that is. It was written up in a white paper by somebody using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto back in 2008. There was an original coin that was mined through the blockchain, and then it was released onto the internet through the blockchain network, and it just exists out there. It's literally just nodes of computers that are connected through the internet that are mining it, that are keeping track of that ledger system. There is no single company behind it. The only thing that it has is the value that it has is determined off of the market and what you and I and the other 5 million people that are using it say it's worth. And the more demand, the more people that use it, the less the coins that are available, the more value it has. And so other coins like even other coins like Ethereum are based off of how many people are using it. But then you've got coins like there's some other coins out there that are just other altcoins. I'm trying to think of ones off the top of my head here that are other types of coins that are actually vested off of. So like there's these are not recommendations. These are just coins that I have seen.
Oh yeah. We are not financial advisors. We do not advise any.
Things like Cyan Coin or Dragon Token or Linda Coin that I just saw. Matter of fact, it made me think of you the other day. That are out there that are altcoins that have businesses associated with them that are developing new technologies that will make their coin more valuable, and it's dependent on the success of the company in itself. And so whether or not that coin in itself has any added value. And so it's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of what's the market going to do, and it's at least here in the United States, the opinions of what cryptocurrency is and what it's not and whatnot has got a lot of FUD, F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is being promoted around cryptocurrency. And to be honest, we're seeing a lot of people that are preying on that fear, uncertainty, and doubt to sell people products that they don't need.
Yeah, and that's the thing you brought up about the exchanges, and it made me immediately think about, because you mentioned the U.S. exchanges, right? So you mentioned GDAX and Coinbase. So what are the Swiss bank places to put your money? I'm sure they're out there, right?
Most of the legitimate exchanges are going to do KYC due diligence, and they're going to collect information on you. And if they're in a country that has an agreement to report to the IRS, to the United States, those transactions will get accounted for. And so, Coinbase just happens to be the biggest one in the US, but you can only buy 4 cryptocurrencies on that exchange right now. Other exchanges like Poloniex or CoinJar, that are based out of Australia, depends on what their own reporting requirements are. And if you do such, make sure you know what you're getting involved with, because if you're thinking that you're getting involved with cryptocurrency, and you are involved with cryptocurrency, you're going to come under some scrutiny if you're not abiding by all the U.S. laws. So, when it comes to buying on an exchange, make sure you do your due diligence to mitigate your own risk within your own risk aversion levels.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the topics I've been hearing a lot lately, and I don't understand how this works exactly, but is using cryptocurrencies for human trafficking.
Yeah, that's where one of the reasons why cryptocurrencies got a bad name is that a lot of people automatically associate it with the dark web and illegal activities and so forth. And the government will, that's one of the stories that you've heard before from the media and the government, that cryptocurrency is just for the dark web and for illegal activities. Well, it's not. It's only, it is just a currency. It's a means of transaction. It has value in of itself. The US dollar, I heard a statistic back when I was in college that every dollar in circulation has trace amounts of cocaine on it. So,
okay, that makes kind of sense.
Yeah, so, if it's a currency, it's going to be used by those with, that have good intentions. It's going to be used by those that have bad intentions.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad or evil in and of itself. It is a currency. It is a means of exchange, and it's up to those who are using it and how they use it that determines what it is and what it's not.
That's a good point there, because it is a currency. It's not good or bad. It's just a currency. Whereas the same thing is like, guns don't kill people. People kill people, right? With guns.
Money is not evil. Money is just a tool. Cryptocurrency is not evil. It is just a tool. What you do with it and how you use it is what determines what makes it right or wrong.
What's interesting about it is that I can transact. Here's the thing that I think is really extra cool about it is I can transact business here in the United States with somebody in a totally different country, where normally we would have to do this exchange, like figuring out how much the money is. But when you're exchanging a cryptocurrency, it's different because it's the same value here as it is over there.
It's got exactly. And while it may be based differently off of different fiat currencies like the US dollar or the Chinese yen or the ruble, whatnot, ultimately where it's going to get more, this goes back to your when does it become more widely accepted, is when we can stop comparing it to fiat currencies. When one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin and half a Bitcoin is half a Bitcoin, and you and I can talk in fractions of a Bitcoin without our minds having to go to a comparison of how much is that in US dollars, that's when it's going to get skyrocket. Because when you and I can go, oh, that's 125 Satoshis, and you and I understand that that's 0.000125 of a Bitcoin, then we're going to be able to transact easier across the globe. Because the problem that's slowing everybody down right now is that as a society, we're automatically wanting to go, okay, one Bitcoin today is equal to $15,000. Okay. Yeah. And so we automatically go through this conversion piece that creates a scarcity mindset. But when we as a society can get to that place of just having conversations and exchange of Satoshis and fractions of a Bitcoin, then it's going to become even more widely accepted.
It's such an interesting thing. So we did have a question. A woman by the name of Rita asked, when you say the blockchain is public, how does one see it?
Great question. So there There are several different things out there, third-party services that are called blockchain explorers. So you've got Bitcoin explorers, you've got Ethereum explorers. They are essentially websites that are tapped into each blockchain network, where you can go monitor the ledger and see all the transactions, the volume, who's sending what, where. Now it's got some anonymity to it, because all you can see is the wallet addresses. You don't see the names of the people that are associated with those wallet addresses, but you can see the transactions occur on the internet. One of the great places for Bitcoin to go to is Blocktrail, blocktrail.com. It is a Bitcoin explorer. You can go look at the blockchain on the public, and that's just one. And if you're technically savvy, you can actually get to it yourself. You just need to know a little technical know-how and some programming to be able to get to it, because it's a public ledger. You can get to it.
It's just so crazy. It's cool. That's one of the reasons why people like it so much, right? It has that ability to see transparency.
Yeah,
I guess.
You may not necessarily know specifically who, but you get to see what address it's going to. And you can in understanding that, you see the money moving, you see the Bitcoin moving across the entire network. It's traceable. You can see when somebody sends, oh wow, there was an order for 1,500 Bitcoin. Somebody just moved 1,500 Bitcoin. You can see that. And it's on the public ledger. It's there in full transparency. Again, it provides the anonymity for the person sending it. But as far as the ledger system goes, you can see it. So, unlike the banks, you don't know where the money that the bank is using, or where they're sending it to, or where it's coming from, or when a corporation sends money to lobby groups or so forth. You have no idea where that money's going. We don't have access to that. We can't see that. Blockchain removes that. It puts it out there on the public, where if you know how to get to it, you can see it.
That's extra cool, yeah, because I like that transparency. It's a big thing for me, because I want to know what's going on with stuff. Just curious, nosy. Because I'm going to ask one last question of one of our viewers, and then next week we're going to talk about. This is one topic you want to talk about. That's the higher frequency spiritual aspects, which I have no idea what you mean by that. So I can't wait to hear. You said, why is it such a hot deal right now, and why is it so disruptive? So we're going to talk about that next week. I have no idea what that means. So let's ask this question. This was an interesting question somebody asked, and I think I know the answer, but I want to hear from you. Can people build wealth using Bitcoin, and if so, how?
That is a great question. That is one of my favorite all-time questions.
Cool.
The answer is yes. Diversification is key, as with any form of wealth building. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's a matter of understanding the ins and outs of cryptocurrency, what it is, what it's not. Recognize that buying on an exchange, buying low and selling high, is just the tip of the iceberg for the cryptocurrency world. There are so many different things that people are using to build digital wealth, essentially accumulate new Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more Litecoin, and so forth. Mm-hmm. That it's a lot of information. Most people right now aren't ready for that. The hardcore cryptocurrency folks are using it and doing it. It's one of the things I help with my private clients is help them mitigate their risk so they can build digital wealth. And there's a lot of people that are going 100% away from fiat straight to cryptocurrencies, and that's how they're navigating the world, is through understanding those systems, understanding the mechanisms, and understanding how to be liquid with their cryptocurrency so they can pay for things and navigate the world.
it's a fascinating subject, and I'm really glad that we're doing this, diving into as many different things as possible about it. If you guys are interested in one of the ones that I'm like involved in, go to livinglive.tv/crypto. You can check it out. Ask me any questions. Just reach out to me with any questions that you have about it. And it's been fun just kind of checking it out. I heard about it maybe 9 or 10 months ago. And I just kept hearing, like, I've been doing the slow process, right? Listen to it. What does it mean? Try to understand it and try to grasp it before I actually got involved with it. And then the more I learn, the more interesting it is, and realizing how I see how it can actually become our future now that I'm understanding it more. And I think that's where the education part comes in, is like the more educated you are, the more sense something makes, right? And so we're not trying to tell anybody that you have to get into it or anything. All we're saying is that look into it, find out what it's all about, and become part of the 1%. I mean, gosh.
Well, and my take on it is, you either learn about cryptocurrencies now or you learn about it later. It's going to be here at some point in time to where it's more mainstream, to where you're going to see Bitcoin this or Litecoin that. And it's just going to get more and more prevalent as more and more people start to use it. So dive in. You can go to our cryptocurrency due diligence group on Facebook. We're putting out lots of information on what it is, what it's not, how to get started, where to dive down the rabbit holes and so forth, that you can, just go learn and dive into it. And it's a lot of fun. It's exciting, a lot of money to be made, and lots of risk to be mitigated along the way. So make sure you do.
That's for sure. And maybe we'll bring up some of those. I don't know if you have case studies and stuff that we can bring up of some of the ones that are now disappeared, and just to talk about them and what happened. Maybe some of them, that was their intention at the beginning, was to come in, get some money and leave out. I don't know. You do.
That's the one biggest thing about the risk mitigation, where to measure for intent is nearly impossible. But to mitigate the risk and understanding what the business is, how it operates, where it's operating, and so forth, is how you mitigate those risks. Because it's Bitcoin, it's on the internet. The only way you can transact with it is on the internet. So that in of itself scares a lot of people. Makes it a little bit more higher risk for most folks. Because it's outside of their comfort zone. But really, as with anything, if you educate yourself on it, you understand what it is and how it works, then it doesn't become as scary.
Yeah, like when Overstock.com first came out, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how it worked and how they could do all that. And now I understood it. So I started to purchase, and it's all online, just like you're saying. So it's the same kind of thing. It's just a different thing. And it's educating yourself about it and doing your due diligence. And that's what Justin does, is he helps people, work through those weird things to figure them out and make sure they're legit, So it's definitely a fun journey. And, we're going to head out for now. But again, next week, we're going to talk about the higher frequency spiritual aspects of it, which I have no idea what that means, but Justin's going to share that with us next week. And then also we will be answering questions that you guys have coming in. And if you want to ask any questions, you can go to livinglive.tv/crypto questions. And I'm stacking all the questions up, and I'll ask a couple of them every single week of Justin, so we can go through all the questions that you guys have as well. So with that said, me and Justin Recla, we are here to help educate you on cryptocurrency. We're not telling you what to do, what not to do. We're just trying to educate you so that you can make smart moves and smart decisions. So that's it. And Justin, you have anything you want to part with?
Nope. Just keep on Bitcoining.
Yes, I don't have any snow for us this week. Oh man, that was fun. Okay, so everybody have a great day and be safe, and make sure, again, you do your due diligence so that you're making smart decisions. And that's with anything that you do, but especially this Bitcoin, because it's a really weird thing. Okay. So have a great day, everybody.
Bye.